All right, so tonight we are focusing on China's worst nightmare. Well, that's what some are calling it. But yes, we know that there has been growing political tensions between the United States and China. Well, the United States has just sent a strong, unmistakable message to China. We are watching you more closely. All right, I want to share this breaking news with you. Look here, everybody. This is very, very important news that I think you need to understand, because Jesus made it very clear that in the last day, in the political climate, there would be wars and rumors of war, and there'd be all sorts of heated rhetoric and all sorts of threats and counter threats and so forth. Is the basic, the biblical prophetic framework that you see. So tension among the nations. In Revelation 11:18, it says there would be anger among the nations. And so, according to an article, Business Insider, U.S. sends stealth B-2s to the Pacific, warning regional rivals that America's bombers are on watch 24/7. A matter of fact, the stealth aircraft that came from a Whiteman Air Force Base were deployed to the Pacific to support U.S. Strategic Command's Bomber Task Force mission, a deterrence mission intended to reassure allies and send a clear message, and I think it does, clear message to any country that would threaten regional peace and security. Deploying to Hawaii enables us to showcase to a large American and international audience that the B-2 is on watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, ready to protect our country and its allies, according to Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Dorr, the Director of Operations for the 393rd Bomber Squadron, explained in a statement. And so the point is, this validates that they're always ready for a global strike capability. And the latest deployment marks the second time B-2 Spirit bombers, which are capable of carrying both conventional and nuclear weapons payloads, have been deployed to Hawaii. And so the B-2's Spirit's first deployment to Pearl Harbor highlights its strategic flexibility to project power from anywhere in the world. And so furthermore, the Major General added that the deployment helped ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific rhetoric the U.S. uses regularly to describe moves meant to counter Chinese actions perceived as aggressive or coercive. And you and I know that there have been threats coming from China, and the military threats, the U.S. Takes them seriously. And so now President Trump and the United States have sent a strong message to China. So the second deployment comes at a time of heightened tension between the U.S. and China, and that's been front page news in the news media, especially in contested waterways like the South China Sea, where China is expanding its military footprint, and the U.S. armed forces are responding in kind. And so Reuters story says, global strike capability, U.S. deploys B-2 strategic bombers to Pearl Harbor for 24/7 watch. And so, yes, so deploying to Hawaii enables us to showcase to a large American and international audience that the B-2 is on watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, ready to protect our country and its allies. So Joshua Dorr, the Lieutenant Colonel, has said. So I want to go to some graphics here, and I want to give you my prophetic take on this, okay, very quickly. Could a worse nightmare scenario quickly unfold in the Pacific because of some reckless mistakes that precipitates an escalation of tension, threats, and some mindless attacks and knee-jerk reactions? Well, what does the Bible say is really behind all of the threats and the rising political tensions and military conflicts and bloody violence? What's behind it? 2 Timothy 3:1-5. But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power, and from such people turn away. So here he lists about 19 prevailing sins in the last days. And so what the picture that Paul is painting is of it's a very grim outlook. It's a very grim forecast, a very grim prophecy that is being fulfilled today. And that is that mankind would become more unloving, more brutal, more cruel, and hence we have wars and rumors of wars. Oh, but they talk peace. And the Bible says when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse number 3. And the book of Genesis says, Genesis 6:11-12, the earth also was corrupt before God in the days of Noah, during the antediluvian generation. And the earth was filled with violence. Now that sounds like our day and our earth. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. Remember, Jesus compared the conditions, the moral conditions that prevailed during the time of Noah to our day. Jesus made a direct connection between Noah's day and what the people were like then, what mankind was like then, what the antediluvians were like then, and what mankind is like today. And so Jesus forecast, Jesus predicted, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Now, Jesus gave us a whole catalog of signs of the times, harbingers, predictions of his second coming. And so here he's saying that in the last days, in the end time, you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. So he's talking about the end times. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end time, is not yet. That is to say, these things happened early on, even 2,000 years ago, during the time of Rome. But the Bible says there would be an escalation and intensification of these signs of the times just before the imminent second coming of Jesus Christ. And so, Book of Revelation says on Revelation 11:18, and these prophecies are fast fulfilling. Here is this end time prophecy. The nations were angry, and your wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that you should reward your servants, the prophets and the saints, and those who fear your name, both small and great, and should destroy those who destroy the earth. Now with nuclear weapons, mankind is able to destroy the earth like never before in an unprecedented scale.